Well, today marks 20 years since the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq began.
Yeah, this launched a conflict that changed the future of not only the country, but also the stability of that whole region there in the Middle East. The war began in the wake of the September 11th attacks, and the U.S. ultimately removed Saddam Hussein from power in an effort to get weapons of mass destruction, which, of course, were never found. He justified it by giving with intel that was shaky, to say the least.
More than 8 Americans and hundreds of thousands of Iraqis were killed over the course of the conflict. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Charlie Daggett spoke with the U.S. ambassador to Iraq, Alina Romanovsky, about the progress made in the country since the war ended in 2011.
Iraq remains a priority and a strategic partner for the United States. And as the U.S. ambassador to Iraq, I'm really focused on taking Iraq to another level of our engagement and deepening our relationship in many areas that, you know, for the last couple of years we haven't been able to do because of security challenges and basically a caretaker government.
CBS News senior foreign correspondent Charlie Daggett joins us now from Baghdad. Charlie, how different is Baghdad from when you were there 20 years ago?
From 20 years ago, Lilia, it's an entirely different country. 20 years ago tonight, the country was still living under Saddam. Everybody was in a state of fear, concern. They realized that they were on the verge of this massive U.S.-led invasion. And then what happened afterward was the invasion itself. And I was here for all of that. You know, there were months of fighting, but it was really one-sided. The Iraqis weren't capable. A lot of them didn't stand and fight against the U.S.-led invasion. And within a matter of weeks, U.S. forces were here in Baghdad. What happened after that was, of course, this breakout of sectarian violence. U.S. forces caught in the middle of that. There was this raging insurgency, some might call it resistance, from Baathists and those who are still loyal to Saddam Hussein. And for a time, U.S. forces were fighting on two fronts, not only the Shiite militias down in Najaf, but the Sunnis in Fallujah. And particularly 2006, 2007 was really the bloodiest time, not only for U.S. forces, but for the Iraqis. As you said, hundreds of thousands of Iraqis were killed, and the death count during that time, 2006 up to 2009, it was just horrible. That was also the time that we lost our colleagues, Paul Douglas and James Brolin, in 2006 in a car bomb just a few blocks from here. Just to give you an indication of how unstable and dangerous and risky it was at that time. And then, of course, you fast forward to ISIS, the rise and fall of ISIS around 2011, 2015. They were defeated here in Iraq in 2017. We were here for all of that. Then over in Syria in 2019. There have been some car bombs. It was about 2 years ago. The last ones that we can talk about here, that was in Sadr City and in Baghdad. Those were blamed on ISIS, or ISIS actually took responsibility for those attacks. But it's been relatively quiet since then. And that is extraordinary. For me to be here now, usually we come here when bad things are happening. This is the anniversary. Nobody's celebrating the anniversary for obvious reasons. And we have heard noises tonight. You can hear them now. Off in the distance, there are fireworks going on. That's what we're hearing now. You can hear that.
Yeah, it also, I thought I caught snatches of the evening Muslim call to prayer maybe in the background there as well. A mixed soundtrack there. So we are now decades, 2 decades to be exact, after the war ended. And of course, Iraq does not have a stable government, as you pointed out this morning as well. It doesn't have a stable economy either. Why is that? Who's to blame for that?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question, because what's happened is there has been a booming market in oil because of what's happened in Ukraine. And, of course, Iraq is a huge exporter of oil. So there's plenty of money. When I say plenty, billions of dollars of revenue are coming into this country. Corruption is a huge problem here, and it has been a huge problem for years. Who's to blame for it? It's some of it has to do with infighting. Some of it's endemic. in terms of how it's trying to be addressed, or the government problems itself, we have to address the fact that although the government was elected more than a year ago, it took a year to put a government together. So there are huge issues, and those old divisions are still here. And there's been protests and rioting, etc., because especially the young people in this country, something like 50–60% of this country is under the age of 25. Now, think about that for a minute. So the majority of the people here in Iraq never lived under Saddam and have only lived after the invasion, and they've grown up in this environment, and they have hopes for the future. So the divisions within the government are still the old divisions that have to do with the Sunni and the Shia and the power struggle that's going on. But it is now unforgivable, and the young people in this nation, the new generation who will push Iraq forward, have had enough.
All right, Charlie D'Agata for us. 20 years later since he was first in Iraq, back for this anniversary, a grim anniversary indeed. Charlie, thank you very much.